The reason why I've only got 36 hours is someone's got a bit of man flu. So we had a big old sleep when we got here yesterday, and we're just taking it nice and steady. We'll see how much I can get through today before I have to go cry back in bed. First impressions of Kampot is a world away from Phnom Penh. How busy the roads are in the capital, obviously because it's the capital. But here, the roads are nice and wide and spacious. There's plenty of room to walk down the side. There's barely any traffic. It seems quite popular with expats. We've seen a lot of people from England and Europe residing over here. Our hotel owner is from the UK as well. So maybe just because of the great transport links to the capital and to the coast, it's quite a popular place to stay. We shall soon find out. And first up, just 5 minutes from our hotel, is this huge lotus pond. I mean, it's got thousands and thousands of lily pads in. It's so quiet around here. You can hear a couple of tuk-tuks going past. You've got some monks in the background. Other than that, it's beautiful. It's so nice to come away from a big city to a much quieter place. It doesn't hit you until you actually get here how different it actually is. Honestly, the ingenuity of people in Southeast Asia, I've said it many a times on previous videos, how he's made that work to be a pumped water hose to water the plants. I have absolutely no idea. It looks like it could electrocute them at any point, the wires are in the water, but somehow he's made it work. Just walking down by the riverfront, and this feels nothing like Cambodia. It almost looks like the Swiss Alps with all those green trees and the mountains in the background. And with it being super quiet, it's absolutely stunning. I've never seen a bridge have 3 completely different designs across the whole of the bridge. We were just having a little look, and apparently it was built by the French when they colonised this area, and then the Khmer Rouge blew it up, and then they've rebuilt it in sections, some of it original, some of it new. But it's only wide enough for bikes, so it also has a bit of charm in that respect. It will always be fascinating to me how over here, I talked about the ingenuity earlier, but just then how they're a patchwork in the road, but life just carries on. You know, the bridge doesn't shut. If that was in the UK, the bridge would be closed, there'd be a mile-long queues, there'd be cones out, health and safety signs, everyone with hard hats on. We take it to the absolute ridiculous level of health and safety, but over here, don't worry about it, just carry on. One other thing that we find fascinating as well, traveling Southeast Asia, take for example that ATM, right next to a building site, loads going on, loads of traffic, and then there's an ATM that's air-conned, just sitting there. And why is it air-conned? All the ATMs across Southeast Asia are air-conned, yet the majority of the restaurants aren't. It's so funny, so unique. It's got to be said, one of the best things to do when you come travelling is just to stop and watch the amount of people on this roundabout. Families of 5 on scooters carrying massive machine equipment going 2 miles an hour. Everyone constantly on the move, but there's never any traffic or queues. It's just a bustling society of people. It's just beautiful to watch. considering Kampot's actually got relatively nothing to do attraction-wise, it's actually a really pretty, quaint place to come visit.
It's been a total surprise. It's so relaxing. Nobody's hassling you. The streets are huge. You can kind of meander at your own pace. And it's surprisingly, because it's very French looking with the buildings, it's really pretty.
So our second full day in Kampot, and unfortunately both Carly and I have now got flu. So we were supposed to be going to La Plantation, which is a pepper plantation which is free to go to and taste pepper, but because Carly and I can't even taste, we're going to skip that, and we're just going to spend the afternoon going up Bokor Hills, which is supposed to be beautiful views over Kampot and got some cool and funky things at the top. So we're just going to go explore that for a couple of hours. So we've just stopped at the first viewpoint on the way to the top of the hills. Can't believe how many monkeys we've already seen, and actually how scared they are of humans. You can tell these haven't been commercialised at all, because there's so few tourists come up these hills. They don't know yet that stealing from humans is a good way of bartering for food. But the first viewpoint is a pretty decent one. It's got a nice view of Kampot in the background. It is quite windy up here already and a bit cooler, which is nice. So we stopped again. We're nearly at the top, but we've come to see two small attractions on the way up. I say small, one of them's pretty big in size. On one side of the road you've got this wonderful abandoned building. And on the other side of the road, got a massive, I think it's a Buddha, called Lok Ye Mao. It's nothing like the traditional Buddhas that we've seen anywhere else in Southeast Asia. Honestly, the views at this height of surrounding Cambodia are so beautiful, but we're still about 10-15 minutes away from the end where the Bokor Hill station is, so that is our next stop. This is just the most strangest place I think we've ever been. There's this massive hotel cum casino that looks like it was built years ago, abandoned. Now it's being renovated. There's a huge car park but no one here. It's just something out of like a horror film, like a zombie franchise. Honestly, that's got to be one of the most random, strangest places ever. There's a casino in there, massive casino, but they wouldn't let us in it for some reason. There was a coffee shop, a restaurant, a market, a spa. It's huge in size, yet there's 1,000,001 staff and not a single customer. It's like this abandoned hotel in the mountains. It just makes absolutely no sense. reminds me of Chernobyl. This massive area that's largely abandoned with a few people renovating, but just so much stuff been built in the past just left to ruin. It's such a fascinating place, but it's extremely odd. End of the rainbow and the end of the road is the Bokor Hill Station, which is currently now a hotel, built in the 1920s by the French, as is a lot of this area, before they abandoned it in the 40s because they wanted it to be a luxury resort in the mountains. It then got taken back over in the 60s before the Khmer Rouge took it back over and then used it as one of their last strongholds before they fell apart in the 90s. And our last stop up the Bokor Hills is we've come to the Popukville waterfall. Tickets cost 50 cents each, and with that you get a free bottle of water, so effectively it's free to go in. We did expect that it would be not much of a waterfall because we're in dry season. It's definitely the driest, quietest waterfall we've seen the entire trip. We're actually standing on what would be the waterfall. So we were just up there today, and now all the clouds descended on the mountains. So we've just stopped at a place called Chow, which is on the way back to Kampot from the hills. The sun's setting just behind me, and we're having some of the most authentic, original Italian food. It is absolutely stunning. You've definitely got to check this place out. It's in a beautiful surrounding. The host is amazing. It's so good.